Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Bodhavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adigo Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Rama Sri Madhusudana. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Rama Sri Madhusudana. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Rama Sri Madhusudana. Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarva Avastang Gatopi Va StMoritz Pundarika Akshang Sabhaya Abhyantara Suchihi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Om Ajnana Timarandhasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Parama Ananda Madhavam. Trinadapi Sunichena Taror Eva Sahishnuna. Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Since today is Balaram Purnima, today's class will be a special class on Lord Balaram. We begin with the famous prayer from the song of Jayadev Goswami, commonly known as the Dasha Avatar Stotram, which he put as his introduction to his great masterpiece, Gita Govinda. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very fond of the songs of this author, and so in the 8th prayer he says, Vahasi Vapushi Vishade Vasanang Jaladabang Halahati Viti Milita Yamunabam Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of Balaram, the wielder of the plow, Haladhar. All glories unto you. For on your brilliant white body, you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are also colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Yamuna, who once felt great fear due to the striking of your plowshare. Next, there is a purport in the first canto where Prabhupada gives a succinct summary of Lord Balaram. Prabhupada writes, Baladev is the divine son of Vasudev by his wife Rohini. So Balaram is also known as Rohini Nandana, the beloved son of Rohini. Baladev was also entrusted to Nanda Maharaj along with his mother Rohini when Vasudev embraced imprisonment by mutual agreement with King Kamsa. So Nanda Maharaj is also the foster father of Baladev along with Krishna. Krishna and Balaram were constant companions from their very childhood, although they were supposedly stepbrothers. Baladev is the plenary, full manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Balaram is as good and powerful as Krishna. And we should know that Balaram is also known as Devaki Nandana because originally Balaram was in the womb of Devaki, but he was transferred by the attraction of Yogamaya, and thus he was actually born from Rohini. But because originally he was in the womb of Devaki, Balaram is also known as Devaki Nandana. Prabhupada continues. Baladev belongs to the Vishnu Tattva, or the principle of Godhead. Balaram attended the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi along with his brother Krishna. And when Subhadra was kidnapped by Arjuna, by the organized plan of Krishna, Balaram became very angry with Arjuna and indeed wanted to kill him at once. However, Krishna, for the sake of his dear friend Arjuna, fell at the feet of his brother Balaram, imploring him not to be so angry. Ultimately, Baladev was satisfied. Similarly, Balaram was once very angry with the Kauravas, and he wanted to throw their whole city into the depths of the Yamuna. But the Kauravas satisfied Balaram by surrendering unto his divine lotus feet. Baladev was actually the seventh son of Devaki prior to the birth of Krishna. But by the will of Krishna, Balaram was transferred to the womb of Rohini in order to escape the wrath of Kamsa. And Balaram has yet another name called Sankarshana, and he is also the plenary full portion of Sri Baladev. Because Balaram is as powerful as Krishna and can bestow spiritual power to the devotees, Balaram is therefore also known as Baladeva. In the Vedas also it is enjoined that no one can know the Supreme without being favored by Baladev. The word Bala actually means spiritual strength, not physical. Some less intelligent persons interpret the word Bala as strength of the body. But no one can have spiritual realization simply by physical strength. Indeed, physical strength ends with the end of the physical body. But spiritual strength follows the spirit soul to its next transmigration. And therefore, the strength obtained by Baladev is never wasted. The strength is eternal. And thus Balaram is the original guru, original spiritual master of all devotees. Sri Baladev was also a class friend of Sri Krishna as a student of Sandipani Muni. In his childhood, Balaram killed many asuras along with Krishna, and specifically Baladev killed the Dainakasura at Talavan. During the battle of Kurukshetra, Balaram remained neutral, and he tried his best not to bring about the war. Baladev was in favor of Duryodhana, but still Balaram remained neutral. And when there was a club fight between Duryodhana and Bhimasena, Baladev was present on the spot at that time. Balaram was angry at Bhimasena when the latter struck Duryodhana on the thigh or below the belt. And Baladev actually wanted to retaliate the unfair action. But Sri Krishna saved Bhima from Balaram's wrath. But Baladev left the place at once, being disgusted at Bhimasena. And after Balaram's departure, Duryodhana fell to the ground to meet his death. The funeral ceremony of Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, was performed by Baladev, as he was the maternal uncle. It was impossible to be performed by any one of the Pandavas. They were all overwhelmed with grief. And at the last stage, Balaram departed from this world by producing a great white snake from his mouth. And thus Baladev was carried by Sheshanaga in the shape of a serpent to the spiritual world. So now, in this last part, I have gone through and selected the pastimes of Balaram in dealing with the demons and also with devotees. But mostly these are summary sections that by and large we have already studied in our Krishna book class. So it will be interesting to see how much you all remember as you hear these. Revealing their boyhood or Pauganda phase of pastimes, Ram and Krishna one day were bringing the cows to pasture when they entered an attractive forest decorated with a clear lake. There, they began playing forest sports along with their friends. Pretending to tire, Baladev laid his head. Pretending to be tired, Baladev laid his head upon the lap of a cowherder boy and rested, as Krishna helped to relieve his elder brother's fatigue by massaging Balaram's feet. Then Krishna also placed his head on the lap of a cowherder boy to rest also. Meanwhile, another cowherder boy massaged Krishna's feet. In this way, Krishna, Balaram, and their cowherder friends enjoyed various pastimes. During this playtime, Sridham, Subala, Stoka Krishna, and other cowherder boys described to Ram and Krishna a wicked and irrepressible demon named Dainaka, who had assumed the form of a jackass and was living in the Talavan forest near Govardhan Hill. This forest was full of many varieties of sweet fruits. But fearing this demon, no one dared to try to relish the taste of those fruits. And thus, someone had to go and kill the demon along with his associates. Hearing of the situation, Ram and Krishna set off for this forest to fulfill the desire of their companions. Arriving at the Talavan, Balaram shook many fruits out of the palm trees, and as soon as he did so, the jackass demon Dhenuka ran swiftly to attack Balaram. But Balaram grabbed his hind legs with one hand, whirled him around, and threw Dhenuka into the top of a tree. He thus slayed Dhenuka. All of Dhenuka's Asura's friends, overcome by fury, then rushed to attack. But Ram and Krishna took hold of them one by one, swinging them around and then killing them until the disturbance was finally finished. When Krishna and Balaram returned to the cowherder community, Yashoda and Rohini placed the boys on their respective laps. They kissed their faces, fed them with finely prepared food, and put them to bed. Next pastime, Sri Vrindavan, where Krishna and Balaram enacted their pastimes, was, even during the summer, decorated with all the qualities of spring. At that time, Krishna would become absorbed in various sports, surrounded by Balaram and all the cowherder boys. One day they were intently dancing, singing, and playing when a demon named Pralamba entered their midst, and he was disguised as a cowherder boy. The omniscient Krishna saw through this disguise. But even as Krishna thought of how to kill the demon, Krishna treated Pralamba as a friend. Krishna then suggested to his young friends and Baladev that they play a game involving contending parties. Taking the role of leaders, Krishna and Balaram divided the boys into two groups and determined that the losers would have to carry the winners on their shoulders. Thus, when Sridham and Vrishabha, members of Balaram's party, came out victorious, Krishna and another boy in his party carried them on their shoulders. Pralamba Asura thought that the unconquerable Krishna would be too great an opponent to contend with. So the demon fought with Balaram instead and was defeated. Then, taking Balaram on his back, Pralamba Asura began walking away very swiftly. But Balaram became as heavy as Mount Sumeru, and the demon, unable to carry Baladev any longer, was forced to reveal his true demoniac form. When Balaram saw this terrible form, he struck the demon a ferocious blow on his head, and he did this with his fist. This blow shattered Pralamba Asura's head, just as lightning bolts hurled by the king of the demigods shatter mountains. The demon Pralamba repeatedly vomited blood and then fell upon the ground. When the cowherder boys saw Balaram return, they joyfully embraced and congratulated Balaram as the demigods showered garlands of flowers from the heavens and glorified Balaram. Next episode, Rukmini's brother Rukmi, who hated Krishna, was infuriated by Krishna's kidnapping of his sister. So after vowing before all the kings present that he would not return to Kundina until Krishna had been destroyed and Rukmini rescued, Rukmi set out with his army to attack Krishna. Ignorant of Krishna's glories, Rukmi boldly went out to attack Krishna in a lone chariot. Rukmi approached Krishna, struck Krishna with arrows, and then demanded that Krishna release Rukmini to him. However, Krishna fended off Rukmi's weapons, breaking them to pieces. Then Krishna raised his sword high and was about to kill Rukmi when Rukmini interceded and fervently pleaded that her brother's life be spared. So, Krishna did not kill Rukmi, but with his sword, Krishna shaved off bits of Rukmi's hair here and there, leaving Rukmi disfigured. Just then, Baladev appeared on the scene along with the Yadava army. But seeing Rukmi disfigured, Balaram gently reproached Krishna. "Oh, my dear brother, to disfigure such a close family member, well, that is as good as killing him. Therefore, Rukmi should not be killed. No, he should be set free." Then Baladev told Rukmini that the sorry condition of her brother was only the fruit of Rukmi's past work and activities, since everyone is responsible for their own happiness and suffering. Balaram further instructed Rukmini about the transcendental position of the jiva soul and how the illusion of material happiness and distress is simply a result of ignorance. Accepting Balaram's instructions, Rukmini gave up her sorrow. Next episode, when Sri Krishna heard that the Pandavas had supposedly been burned to death in the palace of Lak, Krishna went to Hastinapur with Baladev just to maintain the principles of worldly protocol. Even though, being omniscient, Krishna knew that the report was false. But with Krishna out of Dwaraka, Akrura and Kritavarma incited Shatadhanva to steal the Shamanchaka jewel from Satrajit. Bewildered by their words, the sinful Shatadhanva murdered King Satrajit in his sleep and then stole the Shamantaka jewel. Satrajit's daughter, Queen Satyabhama, was then overcome with grief at the death of her father, and she rushed to Hastinapur to report the sorrowful news to Krishna. Then, together with Balaram, Krishna returned to Dwarka in order to kill Shatadhanva. Shatadhanva then went to Akrura and Kritavarma begging for help. But when they refused, Shatadhanva left the jewel with Akrura and fled for his life. Krishna and Balaram pursued Shatadhanva, and Krishna ultimately cut off the head of Shatadhanva with his sharp-edged Sudarshana disc. When Krishna, however, could not find the Shamantaka jewel on Shatadhanva's person, Baladev told Krishna that Shatadhanva must have left the Shamantaka jewel in someone else's care. Baladev further suggested that Krishna return to Dwaraka in order to find the jewel, while Baladev would take this opportunity to visit the king of Videha. Thus Balaram traveled to Mithila and remained there for a few years. It was during this time that Baladev taught King Duryodhana the art of fighting with a club. Next episode. At the wedding of Aniruddha, Baladev, Sri Krishna and other Yadavas went to Rukmi's palace in the city of Bhojakata. After the ceremony, Rukmi challenged Baladev to a game of dice. In the first match, Rukmi challenged Balaram to a game of dice. In the first match, Rukmi defeated Baladev, whereupon the king of Kalinga laughed at Balaram, displaying all of his teeth. But Balaram won the next match, but Rukmi refused to concede defeat. A voice then spoke from the sky announcing that Baladev had in fact won. But Rukmi, encouraged by the wicked kings, offended Baladev by saying that although Balaram was certainly expert at tending cows, Baladev knew nothing of the art of playing dice. Being thus insulted, Balaram angrily struck Rukmi dead with his club. The king of Kalinga tried to flee, but Baladev seized the king of Kalinga and knocked out all of his teeth. Then the other offensive kings, their arms, thighs, and heads wounded by Balaram's blows, fled in all directions, profusely bleeding. However, Krishna expressed neither approval nor disapproval of his brother-in-law Rukmi's death. He feared, Krishna, that he would jeopardize his loving ties with either Rukmini or Baladev. Balaram and the other Yadavas then seated Aniruddha and his new bride on a fine chariot, and they all set off for Dwaraka. Next episode, and it'll pertain to the picture. One day, Balaram went to Gokula to see his relatives and friends. When Baladev arrived there, the elder gopis and Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda, who had all been in great anxiety ever since Krishna and Balaram left at the age of 11, they embraced Balaram and blessed him. Baladev offered appropriate respects and greetings to each of his worshipable elders according to their age, friendship, and family relation. After Gokula's residence and Balaram had inquired about each other's welfare, Balaram rested from his journey. In a short while, the young gopis came to Baladev and questioned him about Krishna's well-being. The gopis asked, "So, does Krishna still remember his parents and friends? And will Krishna be coming to Gokula to visit them?" "Oh, for Krishna's sake only, we gopis gave up everything, even our fathers, mothers, and other relatives. But now Krishna has abandoned us. How could we help but put our faith in Krishna's words after seeing Krishna's sweetly smiling face and thus becoming overwhelmed by the urges of Cupid? Still, if Krishna can spend his days in separation from us, why can't we tolerate separation from Krishna? Nah, there is no reason to keep talking about Krishna. In this way, the gopis remembered Krishna's charming talks, enchanting glances, playful gestures, and loving embraces. And as a result, the gopis began crying. Balaram, however, consoled the gopis by conveying attractive messages Krishna had requested Balaram to give the gopis. Balaram stayed in Gokula for 2 months, sporting with the gopis in the groves on the Yamuna's shore. The demigods who witnessed these pastimes played kettle drums in the heavens and showered down flower petals, while the celestial sages recited the glories of Lord Balaram. One day, Balaram became seemingly intoxicated by drinking some Varuni liquor, and Baladev began wandering about the forest in the company of the gopis. Baladev called out to the Yamuna, "Come near me! Come near me so I and the gopis can enjoy sporting in your waters." But Yamuna Devi ignored Baladev's command. Balaram then started to pull the Yamuna with the end of his plow, splitting her into hundreds of tributaries. Trembling out of fright, the goddess Yamuna appeared and fell down at Balaram's feet, praying for forgiveness. Baladev let Yamuna go and then entered her waters with Balaram's own gopi girlfriends. I'll repeat that. Along with his own gopi girlfriends to sport for some time, meaning Balaram's gopis he enjoys with are different from the gopis Krishna has pastimes with. So Balaram has his own gopi girlfriends. And when they rose from the water, goddess Kanti presented Balaram with beautiful ornaments, clothing, and garlands. Why, even today, the Yamuna River flows through the many channels cut by Baladev's plow, which are the signs of Balaram's having subdued Yamuna Devi. While Baladev played, his mind became enchanted by the gopis' pastimes. Thus, the many nights Balaram spent in the company of his gopis seemed to Balaram like a single night. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Naraka Asura, a demon whom Krishna had killed, had a friend named Dvivida who was an ape. Dvivida wanted to avenge the death of his friend Naraka Asura. So Dvivida set fire to the homes of cowherders, devastated Krishna's province of Anarta, and flooded the coastal lands by churning the ocean's water with his mighty arms. The rascal Dvivida then tore down the trees in the ashrams of great sages, and even passed stool and urine on their sacrificial fires. Dvivida kidnapped both men and women, imprisoning them in mountain caves, which Dvivida sealed off with boulders. After thus disrupting the entire land and polluting many young women of respectable families, Dvivida came upon Raivataka mountain, where Dvivida found Baladev enjoying in the company of a bevy of attractive women. Ignoring Balaram, who was again apparently intoxicated from drinking Varuni liquor, Dvivida displayed his anus to the women right in front of Balaram, and then further insulted the women by making crude gestures with his eyebrows and passing stool and urine. Dvivida's outrageous behavior angered Baladev, and then Balaram threw a stone at the mischievous ape. But Dvivida managed to dodge it. Dvivida then ridiculed Baladev and tugged at the women's dresses. Seeing this audacity, Balaram decided to kill Dvivida. Thus, Baladev took up his club and his plow weapon. Powerful Dvivida then armed himself by pulling up a shala tree from the ground, and with this tree, Dvivida struck Balaram on the head. Baladev, however, remained unmoved and smashed the tree trunk to pieces. Dvivida uprooted another tree and yet another until the forest was denuded. But although Dvivida struck Baladev on the head with one tree after another, Balaram simply broke all the trees to pieces. Then the foolish ape started throwing a barrage of stones. Baladev crushed them all to powder, after which Dvivida charged Balaram, hitting him on the chest with his fist, which infuriated Baladev. Putting aside his club and plow weapons, Balaram then struck Dvivida's throat and shoulder, at which point the gorilla vomited blood and fell down dead. Having thus killed Dvivida, Balaram set off for Dwaraka as demigods and sages showered flowers from the sky, offering Baladev praises, prayers, and obeisances. Next episode, Samba, the darling son of Jambavati, kidnapped Duryodhana's daughter Lakshmana during her Swayamvara assembly. So in response, the Kauravas joined forces in order to arrest Samba. After Samba had held them off single-handedly for some time, 6 warriors of the Kaurava party deprived Samba of his chariot, broke Samba's bow to pieces, seized him, tied Samba up, and brought both him and Lakshmana back to Hastinapur. When King Ugrasena heard of Samba's capture, he called upon the Yadavas to retaliate. Angered, they prepared themselves to fight. But Balaram pacified them, hoping to avoid a quarrel between the Kuru and Yadu dynasties. Balaram set off for Hastinapur, together with several Brahmanas and Yadava elders. The party of the Yadavas set up camp in a garden outside the city, and then Balaram sent Uddhava to ascertain King Dhritarashtra's frame of mind. When Uddhava appeared in the Kaurava court and announced Balaram's arrival, the Kauravas worshipped Uddhava and then all went to see Baladev, taking auspicious items to offer him. The Kauravas honored Balaram with rituals and items of respect. But when Baladev conveyed Ugrasena's demand that they release Samba, the Kauravas became angry. Then they said, It is very amazing that these Yadavas are trying to give orders to us, the Kauravas. This is like a shoe trying to climb atop one's head. It is from us alone that the Yadavas have obtained their royal thrones. And yet now they are presuming themselves our equals? No longer will we extend to them the royal privileges. Having said this, the Kaurava nobles then went inside their city. And so Balaram decided that the only way to deal with those who are maddened by false prestige is through brute punishment. Thus, Balaram took his plow weapon and, intending to rid the earth of all the Kurus, began dragging Hastinapur toward the Ganga. Seeing now that their city was in imminent danger of falling into the water, the terrified Kauravas quickly brought Samba and Lakshman before Balaram and then began to glorify him. They prayed, "O Lord, please forgive us. We were so ignorant of your true identity." Baladev then assured the Kauravas he would not harm them, and Duryodhana presented various wedding gifts to his daughter and new son-in-law. Then Duryodhana, extending his greetings to the Yadavas, requested Balaram to return to Dwaraka along with Samba and Lakshmana. When Baladev heard that the Pandavas and Kauravas were about to go to war, in order to remain neutral, Balaram left Dwaraka on the pretext of going on pilgrimage. Baladev bathed in sacred places such as Prabhas, Chitrakupa, and Vishala. And eventually Balaram came to the holy Naimisharanya forest, where great sages were performing an extended fire sacrifice. While being worshipped by the assembled sages and offered a seat of honor, Balaram noticed that Romaharshana Sutta, who was sitting on the Vyasasan, had failed to stand in deference to him. Greatly angered by this offense, Baladev killed Romaharshan simply by touching him with the tip of a blade of kusha grass. The assembled sages were disturbed by what Baladev had done, and so they said, "O Lord, unknowingly you have killed a Brahmana. Therefore, even though you are above the Vedic injunctions, we request you to set a perfect example for the general populace by atoning for this sin." Then, following the Vedic maxim that one's son takes birth as one's own self, Balaram granted to Romaharshan's son, Ugrashrava, the position of speaker of the Puranas, and in accordance with the sage's desires, Balaram promised Ugrashrava a long life with unfailing sensory capacity. This Ugrashrava is also known as Sutta Goswami, and he is the speaker which opens the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, where we see the scene is set in the forest of Naimisharanya. Now, wanting to do something more for the sages, Balaram promised to kill a demon named Bulvala, who had been polluting their sacrificial arena. Finally, on the advice of the sages, Balaram agreed to go on a year-long pilgrimage of all the holy places in India. At the sacrificial arena of the sages at Naimisharanya forest, a harsh wind began blowing on the new moon day, spreading the obnoxious smell of pus and obscuring everything with dust. Then the demon Balvala appeared with a trident in his hand, his massive body pitch black and his face very frightening. Baladev caught the demon with his plow and struck Balvala a very ferocious blow on his head with his club. And in this way, he killed Balvala. The sages chanted Balaram's glories and presented Baladev with lavish gifts. Balaram then began his pilgrimage, during which Baladev visited many holy tirthas. When Baladev heard the news of the battle between the Kurus and the Pandavas, Baladev went to Kurukshetra in order to stop the duel between Bhima and Duryodhana. But Balaram could not dissuade them from fighting, so deep was their enmity. Understanding that the fight was the arrangement of fate or destiny, Baladev left the battlefield of Kurukshetra and returned to Dwaraka. Later sometime, Balaram again went to the Naimisharanya forest, where the sages performed a number of fire sacrifices on his behalf. Baladev reciprocated by granting the sages transcendental knowledge and revealing to them Balaram's eternal identity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bahasi Bapushi Vishade Vasanang Jaladhabam Halahati Bhiti Melita Yamunabam Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bahasi Vapushi Vishade Vasanang Jaladabam Halahati Biti Malita Yamunabam Keshavadrita Balarama Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bahasi Vapushi Vishade Vasanang Jala Dabam Halahati Biti Malita Yamunabam Keshavadrita Sankarshana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Balaram Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadish, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Lord Balarama ki. Okay, since Vishwanath is here, we will play our rock song. Of course, it's all about Lord Balaram. So this is called Balarama-ji. My wife and I wrote this song sometime in 1980, 81, like that. One of the first songs we wrote, and we hope you like it. One day, Balarama-ji called to the gopis, come dance with me. He came to ease their pain, for he and his brother are the same. To satisfy their heart's desire and set their minds in soul afire, they danced the whole night long and sang a transcendental song. To them the Lord was very dear. He made their hearts bereft of fear. The moonlight filled the sky, while peacock birds began to cry. My dear Jamuna, please come nearby. With those words she gave a sigh. You wretched river, then said he, I'll make you surrender to me. Jamuna then became afraid, and falling at his feet she prayed. Oh, powerful personality, please excuse my impudency. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Balarama ki.